Hello, Chris.
Hey Leah, how are you?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Good.
What do you want to talk about?
Um, well, the mental health and trades, I've noticed it's sort of been kicking off a bit, discussions around it this week.
Yeah.
And I was listening in, and then my good friend Marty Amos, you're just chatting with him,
Yeah.
and it sort of inspired me to maybe talk about my journey.
Oh,
Uh,
absolutely.
yeah, sorry.
That's all right,
So I'm
mate.
a builder based in Nelson,
Yep.
and I have my own business, and I'll just get right to the emotional part quick and out of the way, and then we can chat. Back in 2017, I had an apprentice who did take his own life.
Oh,
So I've been been monitoring the whole thing with mental health and trade since then, and trying to go into deep dives and see what are the things that we can do, what are the things that others are doing, and just what Marty was talking about. We actually joined up with Marty and their professional builder sort of after that time period, and he's bang on. The running a good business helps. So for me, losing that apprentice was a pretty major thing for us. We've been in business for 2 years, and then the following year for me, I just went into a real down state, and I didn't realise till a year later when a mate of mine just asked me how I was doing, and then I was just like, wow, actually I'm doing really crappily, doing crap,
yeah.
and he'd been through some tough times himself, so he gave me some advice, and I was able to sort of get myself out of that space, and that was one of the things was jumping in and learning how to run a business better. But shortly after that, SiteSafe did a study, 2019, and they looked into some of the causes for some of those cases, and obviously it's quite close to my heart because my apprentice was one of one of the people considered in that. And when it comes to business ownership, that the stresses of running a business was very high for those that owned a business, but for those that weren't running a business, the highest, there's many things that contribute, but the highest was actually relationship issues.
Oh,
And
okay.
what I've noticed in a lot of the discussions in that over the years, we tend to just talk about the stresses of the building industry, but we don't actually talk about relationship issues. And yeah, so it's just sort of something I wanted
Are
to bring
you,
up
Chris,
in
are
this
you talking
conversation.
relationships with your partners or partner or
Yeah, well, that's what
relationship
they're
within the
saying is
industry?
that,
Yeah.
yep, so they know relationships with your family and your partners.
Family, yeah.
I, and they broke it down to as well, like relationship breakups or just struggles within the relationship.
Yeah.
And I guess Marty was coming from the angle of run a better business, and man, we improved in so many ways, and it just eliminated so much stress for us, and we were able to
Yeah.
for us, we're doing quite well with our business. But the advice that I want to give to people is make sure you double check in with people, make sure you
Yeah.
like. For me, I wouldn't talk about it with people that are close to me because I didn't really want the problem to compound any further. And I felt
Mm.
like that problem would compound if I spoke to people about it. So it was someone who was outside of my norm but knew me well who stepped in and asked. And I was able to sort of offload onto them and find a pathway out.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
encouraging people to, if you know people in business, go and talk to them, ask them if they're doing all right.
That's really, really good advice. And Chris, what I found, that what you've gone through, the year after you said after you lost your apprentice, that you realise that you weren't in a good way. And do you think now that you look back, all that time, that year or a little bit past a year, you just wanted to get on with it? You thought, I'll just get on with it and work and almost kind
Yeah,
of push it
yeah,
aside,
yeah.
and
I
then
just wanted,
and it
I
always
just,
it always comes back. You can't get rid of it. So eventually you've got to face it, right?
yeah, yeah. I just wanted to keep going. I wanted to build my business. I was
Yeah,
taking on projects, and it was very, very gradual. It didn't just happen one day where I was just like
yeah,
couldn't just walk out the door. That's
yeah,
what it got to. Is I just look at the door and I just can't bother. I just can't get out there. And it
mm,
was very gradual. And then once that outside perspective came in, and I realized what was going on, for me personally, all I had to do was get down into the smaller accomplishments. Like Marty,
yeah,
he said about these wins, like, so, okay, well, what can I win? And I thought, I'll go down and organise my garage. sort that out, and then walk away feeling, oh, just that was a good positive change. And then
Yeah.
I just kept doing that over and over, and
Yep.
gradually then, it helped. So
I suppose everything you got to by then was such a big mountain to climb. It's almost insurmountable. How do you do it? And then what Marty offered you, was chip by chip, step by step, little things like doing your garage. And it seems so inconsequential at the time, but it really does work. There's that, get up in the morning, make your bed is the first thing, because at least you've achieved something in that day before your day might turn to crap, or and there's always the next day, it's this too, as Marty said, this too shall pass. I've always loved that saying.
And that can
Chris,
be its own that can be
going.
its own sort of negative too, because if you're in the mindset, oh, I'll get through it, I'll be fine. But if you don't go about getting through it the right way, then it can be negative.
Yep. And Marty is obviously, he talked about working with lots of businesses, and I like the way he said, and you said it, go and talk to a business, go and talk to somebody, because he said everyone he's worked with at one stage, even the ones that are doing really, really well, have at one stage struggled or questioned or not quite got lost a little bit. So that's really important, isn't it?
Yeah, well, because the big thing in the industry is everyone wants you to harden up. And I have seen that on social media this week when there's been discussions about some of the news items in relation to what Marty's talking about. And there's repetitive comments saying harden up. But my belief is that everyone has a limit to their resilience. Yeah. Some people are fortunate enough never to experience something that pushes them over that limit. Some people have trained themselves or developed themselves that their limit is higher than others. So it could come to all of us at some point, but if we work on ourselves, we do get beyond that limit. So I say to those people, you're fortunate enough that you haven't had to experience something so horrible that it pushes you past your limit.
Yeah. Isn't that a shame, Chris? I thought we were a little bit past that harden up concrete pill era, but it's obviously still alive and well.
I thought we were more about awareness. I mean, this is something, for the last 5 years, there's been a pretty major push in the industry in regards to mental health, and it has been well received.
Yeah.
A lot of people are changing their perspectives, but there are a few that are sort of hanging on to that mentality. And there's going to be some times where, there is a bit of room for that whole harden up mentality. But if someone's like chronically struggling with their mental health, it's not going to help them. It's actually going to close them down from being able to ask
even more
people for help. Because you want to be in a work environment where people can ask for help, or you do notice that someone isn't doing so well.
And things are good, Chris. Your business, still got your business doing?
Yeah, no, we're doing really well actually. We're probably having our best year ever. Actually.
That's brilliant.
We're looking at building our own house. Looking at building our own house later this year, and that was something that back in that time my mate asked me, well, the thing he asked you is what is it that you want to do? So I was doing things that weren't necessarily achieving my own goals, and so it helped me sort of refocus and start working towards them, and I'm getting to that point, which is great.
I really appreciate you calling in, Chris. It's brilliant, and it is good. I really appreciate talking to you.
Thanks, Leah.
Good stuff, matey. That is Chris from Nelson, doing great stuff. All right, we're going to grab a break. That'll freak Sarah out. What? We usually do it right up to the top of the hour, but no. I feel I want Chris to have that kind of last word before we start something else, before I jump into something else. So, yeah, great call, wasn't it, Patty? Take care, mate, from Patty.